Hi guys, welcome back to Georgia Sportsman. Sorry for my scratchy throat. I've got some kind of fun going on. But I've been wanting to do this review for quite some time and I finally have possession of it. So today we're going to talk about the Bailey Bradshaw Rotary Action Rifle. This is going to be a fun one.
Roll it.
Guys, in my mind, this is the absolute pinnacle of firearm manufacturing. I'm so excited about this gun, I'm not even really sure where to start. So I'm just gonna go talk about what it has on it and then we'll get into the action of this thing. So, exhibition grade Turkish walnut stock. Silver style butt pad, nice solid hard rubber with a classic black spacer. Germanic Bavarian style cheek piece with a beautifully executed shadow line. Again, more Germanic styling on the pistol grip. Fantastic checkering. This is a very thin pistol grip. He did not overdo it on the checkering. It has enough to give you a nice purchase without being too much, and it flows perfectly with the lines of the wood. Top 10 safety. Hand engraving all around the action. Scroll style on the trigger guard. Perfectly timed and blued screws. This handguard does nothing more. It does nothing for the action. It's just there to give you something to hold on to. If you can see this, the rear sight is 24 karat gold triangle with a silver bead up front. And then it's got dovetail mounts so you can put a scope on there. And doing that is incredibly simple. Have your tie rings. These have matching color case hardened rings. Line up on the dovetails. Slide it in. I can get the rear one to line up. And on the front one. And then lock it down with the QD levers, or some models also have where you can screw them in. I like the quick detach. Now this barrel looks like it's been blued. This is actually Cerakote. I've never seen Cerakote executed in this way, but it looks like it's been blued. The plus side is that it's cheaper and it also is less likely to get corroded like rust bluing is. So I really like that touch. It feels fantastic, very, very smooth. So how does this rifle work? I'll admit it took me a little while to get this down just because it's so vastly different than any other kind of firearm that I have ever used before. Before I get into that, there are about 4 gun writers who I actively seek out their articles. Unfortunately, one of those has died, but Phil Massaro just had this about a week ago, and he is going to have a review coming out on Gun Digest. So I highly recommend you read most of his articles anyway, but especially if you're interested in this gun, he will have a lot more details. The whole rifle weighs about 5 pounds and 8 ounces. So perfect stalking rifle. When I first picked up, it felt like a Cricket 22. I could not believe how light this is. It's deceivingly light. The action is unlike anything I've ever seen other than the George Honig. Bailey took the Honig design and simplified it further. So to open up the action, give it a quarter turn twist, pull it back, and it hinges open. Absolute engineering marvel. This one is chambered in 7x57R, which is a rimmed cartridge. Bailey can make these in basically any caliber up to 9.3x74R, both rimmed and rimless. I prefer rimmed for break action guns though. But that's the extractor. Drop your round in, Close the action, give it a twist, and it's ready to go. To fire it, one thing I like about this safety is that it is engaged all the way until fire, so the trigger is not budging at all. If I move it over here to where it's almost in the fire position, it still doesn't move. It will only move once you fully engage it into the fire position. The trigger pull is about 6 pounds roughly. There is no creep on it whatsoever. There is zero creep. So just, if you maintain a solid, steady pressure, it will break very cleanly. I wouldn't want to trigger any heavier, but I also don't know that I would want to trigger much lighter in this type of rifle. So to extract your round, twist the action, pull it back, let gravity do its work, and you can insert your new round. Now take it apart. It's an interesting design. If you've ever seen the George Honig rotary action, which is kind of what this is similarly based on with a few modifications to simplify it even further, you pull out the extractor, but it's hinged. The extractor does not come all the way out. You rotate it to the left, leave it there, level up your rifle, push it in slightly, turn it, and it comes apart. And that's it, just two simple parts. Put it back together, same thing. If you can look in here, you can see where there's a little cutout in the action for this piece. Line them up. You can see what I'm doing here. Break it. Take your extractor again, set it back into the recess, and you close the gun together. Now it's locked. Another great thing about this rifle is you're probably used to the break open styles and shotguns and double rifles. This is a 450-400 nitro. They have locking lugs in the bottom. You can see the back one here. So when the rifle is ready to be fired, your locking lugs keep the gun from literally shooting itself apart. But over time, and especially as you go into bigger cartridges and calibers, as you fire, the barrels are going up, twisting to the side, and going back at the same time. So eventually, you will have a gun that comes off a face and has to be fixed by a gunsmith. With this system, there's no place for the action to go. Look at the size of these locking lugs. It is like an artillery howitzer. They're absolutely massive locking lugs. When it is in battery, there's only one place for that force to go, and that's directly backwards. Because this is locked up so tightly, there is no other place for it to shift to the side or up. It's gonna go straight back. I don't know what else to say about this. It is, in my opinion, this is the pinnacle of gun making. Absolutely beautiful form and function. Now, one thing I did learn with a scope on here, you can still take the gun apart, but you have to change how you do it a little bit differently. So I'll show you that. So if you have a scope on here, it sits very low to the bore, which I love. I absolutely love scopes that have a low bore height. Twist it, break it apart. Same method as I showed you earlier. Take your extractor, turn it. Now you see though, when I push it in, my trigger guard hits the scope. All you have to do is pull it back out, twist your gun back around, push it in again, and if I can find that sweet spot, and it'll come apart. So you can still take it apart even with a scope, and it comes together just as easy. Put my extractor back in. Absolutely ingenious system. But guys, that's it. The Bailey Bradshaw Rotary Action Rifle.